is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the REA Catalog Auction live stream. This is the fall 2024 auction. It's November 22nd, 2024. My name is Jeremy Lee. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We're going to just jump right in, bring on REA President Brian Dwyer. Brian, I love doing these shows with you. Welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, thanks. I love being here. It's always fun.
And if you are tuning in on Instagram, feel free to come on over to the YouTube channel where the engagement is just that much more fun. And we welcome comments in the chat as always. And Brian, as I was just mentioning to you before we went live, I actually went through all 3,900 items in the auction this time. And I'm blown away by the breadth, the depth of the listings that you guys are able to attract auction after auction. There are some absolute beauties this time, as there always are. And the feature item this time being, and let's just take a quick look at it, a little sneak peek here, being the 1916 Morehouse Baking Babe Ruth. I mean, it's not often that we see items like this. This is a pop. It's a pop 2 altogether, not a pop 2 and a 3.5. There's only 2 of these ever slabbed by PSA. How do you continue to bring on items like this?
I mean, we're very fortunate. People trust us with these incredible pieces. We've got a reputation for turning up new stuff, which I think brings more new stuff at each and every auction. People know that we're really good storytellers and we're great researchers. And when this Babe Ruth came out, you know, nobody had ever seen a Babe Ruth with his advertising back before. And this collection, we can dive into it in more detail later if you want, but over 100 cards, including 2 Babe Ruths. So it went from being totally unknown for over 100 years to now being a pop 2, but it's still going to go for big bucks, as you saw there, not even 7 hours in, and it's over $500,000.
Yeah, I was preparing for the episode and I got all the tabs ready to go. We've got 22 items we're going to look at, and I had them all up and there were no bids on them because it was at the very, very beginning. And then about 15 minutes ago, I came in, I refreshed and I was like, whoa, all these 0 to 110,000, 0 to 450,000, you know, and all sorts of numbers, but just amazing. If everybody who's watching, if you're watching right now live, if you're listening in the next few days, the auction does run from today through December the 8th, and then it will go into extended bidding. If you are not yet registered to bid on REA, the website is just below here, robertedwardauctions.com. Check it out. You can go there and browse all the items that we're going to talk about, and 38 or so hundred more as well. Anything else you'd like to mention, Brian, to anybody about the website, about the auction platform, about bidding on your listings?
Yeah, I mean, I always say jump on in. The water's fine. I mean, we're going to cover a lot of high-profile, high-dollar items tonight, but the truth of the matter is we've got items starting as low as $50, $100, $200 in this auction. So there's a tremendous amount of variety, something for almost every collector, vintage, modern, pre-war, post-war. I think if you're a fan of vintage cards and memorabilia, you should check it out.
Definitely check it out. I agree. And some amazing pieces. So let's get into it. Let's bring it up. Here's the website right here. When you go to robertedwardauctions.com, a nice convenient bid now button right here will take you right to the listings. But let's jump in and get into the items that we are talking about. And I'm going to refresh and see. It says 458,403. Let's refresh and see if it's changed at all in the last few minutes. Still there, Brian. But why don't you let us know a bit more about this? Again, there's only 2 copies of this card ever slabbed by PSA. I love that it's got the canceled stamp on the back as well. What does that mean? Tell us about this piece.
Yeah, so if you go to our website, you can look at the backs, and these were used to promote Sunlight Bread, which Morehouse Baking Company in Massachusetts produced back in 1916. And as part of this promotion, you could turn in cards to get either a jump rope or a baseball bat and ball. So the fact that this is canceled means that some kid, some adult, somebody back in 1916 went to the bakery and turned in this card for some sort of prize. So it's just a super cool card. A lot of people might be familiar with the Ruth rookie from the Sporting News set. Sporting News was just one of the 15, 16, 19, I think maybe different advertisers, including Morehouse Baking. So just an incredibly rare card, great story, been in the same family for decades, never realized the significance, had no idea that it was the only one or only two known to exist. So we're really happy to be able to tell this story.
And it grades a 3.5. And I look at it, it looks really good. I mean, it's obviously not perfect. It is a 3.5 on the PSA grading scale, but look at the image of him is basically unfettered. I mean, a little bit of some sort of line through here, but really a pretty copy. And the word canceled on the back was stamped on it. I mean, I know I've had some cards from the 20s myself, and this is the 1916, but I've had some cards from the 20s that have a hole punch through them or a canceled stamp on the back. So in essence, as you said, a kid sent this in, received something back. What do you think happened to the cards? Like, they sent the card in to the company to receive the premium prize. What happens to, what's the path of the card after that? Any idea?
I think if you zoom in on the back of that card, I think Morehouse might have even let you keep the cards. So I think it says that if you show up with 50 with no two alike, you may keep the photos, but show them at our office and get a baseball and bat, or a nice long jump rope. So in this particular instance, you got to have your cake and eat it too. We have seen other instances where cards have been kept in just corporate folders basically and forgotten until somebody discovers them in the trash. But this you got to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it says right there, you may keep the photo. So you actually had to physically go to the office and show it. So this was a regional sort of thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing that these
super cool.
Super cool that they still exist. So that's a featured item, everybody. It's at $458,403 as we sit right now. And I believe that, does this include the buyer's premium at that price right there?
It does not. So that means that the true bid is over $540,000 right now.
Yeah, unbelievable. Really, really an amazing piece. Congratulations for having it on your. It's a privilege for a company like yours to be able to host an item like that and have it consigned to you, isn't it?
100%. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of competition in our industry. A lot of auction companies out there. So anytime we're chosen to present anything, frankly, but especially something so rare and with such a great story, it's a true privilege.
It really, really is. So I understand that you actually have a ticker sitting to your left, I believe.
Am I right?
To your right. You can see the bid. What's the latest item to receive a bid since we've been live?
We had a 1980 Topps unopened wax box with Ricky Henderson rookie year, $550. Just got a bid.
Very cool. All right. Next up on the agenda is a 51 Bowman Willie Mays, one of my personal favorites. If you've seen Brian and I do this show in the past, I often have a copy of a card and hey, here's mine. I don't have mine out right now, but I love the 51 Bowman Willie Mays. This is one and only true rookie card. This is a PSA 8 sitting. Let's see if we're still at 67.5. I refreshed about 15 minutes ago. We're still there. Brian, a spectacular copy right here, centering, edges, corners, the print. I see no PD. I see no print lines, no fish eyes.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts on this really nice copy.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything. I mean, I remember when this card came in being struck by the image. It was shortly after Mays passed away. It's hard to believe that his cards are seeing a bump given how great he was when he was alive, but his cards are actually seeing a bump in price now that he's passed away. So this card's beautiful. You know, it's got everything that you'd want to see in a high grade example, and it's already off to a nice start there.
And I don't want to take anything away from the iconic 52 top set, which does feature, you know, the most iconic Mickey Mantle and even Willie Mays, but this is the true rookie card. Are these 51 Bowman rookies of both Mantle and Mays, are you finding that they are gaining in status relative to the 52 tops? And I'm asking this, I'm not saying they are, but are they?
I mean, I think 52 tops will always have the edge. I think the gap might have closed a little bit, but certainly in the case of Mays, more people are paying attention to the 51 than I think they did in the past. 51 Bowman Mays was always on my list of most undervalued cards, and it's starting to get some appreciation.
A beautiful copy, currently at 67,500. Next up, now this one shocked me, and it's because I don't completely know about this card, but it shocked me because when I opened up the window earlier today, it was at 0 bids, like every listing was, and then I refreshed it again, before we went live, 150,000. Refresh again to see if we're still there. We are. It's a SGC 2.5 Ty Cobb with the Ty Cobb backing or advertising on the reverse, but an SGC 2.5 at $150,000. Why is this card so valuable?
This Ty Cobb was the only player in the T206 set to have his own branded tobacco, his own advertising back on the cards. It's only available on Ty Cobb's red portrait card, like you see here. So of all the advertising backs in the T206 set, Ty Cobb is the rarest. And for many years, there were only a handful of them available. Then you might have heard of the Lucky 7 find. There were 7 new ones that came out. There's been a number of new discoveries over the years, including this one, which was actually purchased in the 80s at a flea market in North Carolina and kept in the family for many years until just recently being graded and consigned to our auction. Just to put it in perspective for those people that might not collect pre-war, if this card had a regular advertising back, maybe a Piedmont or a Sweet Caporal, it'd be worth several $1,000s. And here you see already on the first 7 hours, it's up to $150,000. That just speaks to the magnitude of rarity on this back.
And I'd just like to point out the centering on this copy. It appears to be absolutely perfect. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen a better centered T206 Ty Cobb with any reverse. Absolutely stunning. It presents extremely well. You didn't even mention the eye appeal. I mean, do you want to say anything about the eye appeal? Because it's
incredible. I mean, it's beautiful. It is this card, this Ty Cobb with Ty Cobb back, is often found off register. So you'll see 4 eyes, you'll see 1.5 heads, you'll see the collar out of focus. This example is really dialed in. The background color is exceptional. The centering's incredible. I mean, this is, as someone that's handled a number of Ty Cobb with Ty Cobb backs, this is one of the nicest I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that when you are dealing with a card in this low of a grade, which is, I feel bad saying that because it is 115 years old almost, it's nice when what I'm identifying as the most significant flaw is on the back. And that's this kind of staining on the lower right and, over here. But I don't mind that. That might be remnants of tobacco oil, which just gives it that much more authenticity. And I just love that about it, Brian. Great copy.
Character right there.
Yeah, we often hit on the same points because we're both so passionate about these things. Really awesome example and card right here. Let's go to the next one. We have the 1909 T206 white border Eddie Plank and SGC 3. Let's hit refresh and see if it's moved. Still at $110,000. Only $110,000 here, Brian. Now, Eddie Plank in the T206 set is one of the most challenging cards to acquire. Is it not? Tell us a little bit about the mystique around the Eddie Plank.
Yeah, you have 524 cards in this set, and you've got 4 of them that have really risen to the top as the most rare. Eddie Plank's one of them, Honus Wagner, Joe Doyle, which we sold last year for $1.3 million, and Sherry McGee's error card. So this Plank is always been revered as a very tough card. There's only maybe 200, 250 of them known to exist compared to Wagner's, which maybe there's 60 or so. And this example, again, just like the Cobb, well-centered, perfect registration, great color, just a very attractive example of this very, very tough card.
It really is. I mean, the centering is great. I love it. I also like when, a card in these lower grades, when the corners are slightly rounded like this one is, for me as a collector, I want all four corners to have uniform rounding. I refer to it as sexy corners because it just looks so good. This one has that feature. So I really like it. $110,000 as we sit. To the people watching on Instagram right now, please feel free. There's a link in my bio that'll bring you over to YouTube and you will have the better viewing experience. Love to have you all join us over on YouTube. All right, Brian, what's the latest item to receive a bid on the auction now?
E121 American Caramel George Sisler, $250.
All right, nice. Good to hear. All right, let's keep on going as we get through these items. Our first non-sports card item of the evening, and this is, as the lot description says, an exceptional Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig dual sign baseball, certified and graded by PSA DNA as an near mint to mint 8. Comes with full JSA letter of authenticity. So are we still sitting at 27,000? 26,000, I should say. We are. You can see right here, Babe Ruth has signed it in the sweet spot and Lou Gehrig just above him. Tell us a little bit about this piece, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, these two guys need no introduction. And if you had a ball signed by one of them, it'd be remarkable. But to have both of them on the same ball with nobody else is actually pretty rare. And when they do come up, they don't come up in this type of condition. I mean, a grade of 8 is one of the best confirmed examples. The placement of the signatures is beautiful. The strength of signatures incredible. So just very, very nice, high grade ball, super desirable for autograph collectors, and should do very well.
Educate us a little bit. You know, you mentioned that it's got Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and no one else. I always like the specificity of a single sign baseball, but when you add two mega superstars like these guys, does that help the item? Is it better to have this than two separate signed, single signed items? That's question one. Question two is, if there was a third autograph on this ball of somebody else from that era that maybe wasn't of their stature, would that help or hurt it as well?
So going backwards, I mean, if there was a third member of the Yankees and maybe it was, I don't know, I hesitate to even throw somebody under the bus, but it's somebody that you haven't heard of, probably would decrease the value of the ball. If these guys were all on a team signed baseball, you know, that would be desirable. But having two of your mega stars together, that's just something that collectors love. And the way that they position their signature, if you tilt it correctly, I mean, we had to zoom in here on the signatures for the purposes of the auction listing, but for display purposes, you can actually see both of them. You can just kind of make it out there. Like it's a perfect placement of these two signatures.
Yeah. Really awesome piece right there. Let's continue on. Another non-sports card item, but still cardboard. And this one really made me do a double take when I was reviewing these items earlier today. 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers game ticket from April 15th. And this is Jackie Robinson's debut in the major leagues. The Dodgers won 5-3. It says authentic altered on the PSA slab. I mean, tell us a little bit about this piece. How important is this to ticket collectors?
I mean, it's been described as the holy grail for ticket collectors. I mean, there are very few tickets that have the significance in the game of baseball, significance in the history of the world, the history of the sport, as Jackie Robinson making his debut and breaking baseball's color barrier. So for us, this was a huge consignment when it came in. There's only a handful of these graded by PSA. They very rarely come up for sale. PSA 2 sold a couple years ago for $480,000, which was the highest sale of a ticket ever. It was just recently broken. But this is something that's desirable in any grade. And the visual appeal, I mean, it is graded authentic. It is marked altered, but it's very strong visual appeal, which I think is also very attractive for this piece.
Is that the alteration right there, something helping keep it together on the back?
Yeah. They had a crease that broke through, so it's been patched up there, and that's why it's altered.
And you know, in sports cards, alterations are taboo for the most part. In tickets, is it a bit different? Because I'll tell you, I'm an eye appeal guy, and I want to be able to love and appreciate the item I have. And if this was split in the holder, I wouldn't like it as much. I don't mind this being held together like that. Can you help us understand a little bit about ticket collectors and their approach to alteration versus sports card collectors?
I think every individual collector probably has their own feelings on it. I mean, I agree with you. Eye appeal, right? This to me is very attractive. This to me presents extremely well. This to me, as a stub, was in the building the day that this happened. I mean, I just think that's tremendous. So this does not bother me at all. And I think the main difference here with this particular ticket compared to when you talk about something like altered cards is that find another one, right? There's only a handful of these that have survived. I don't like altered cards because there's a higher supply of them, and you want to get one that hasn't been messed with. This has been preserved, in my opinion, and that's important.
Yeah, this was likely folded up at the game, put in the attendee's pocket, and survived 75 plus years now. An amazing item right there. I'm sure whoever gets it is going to be just ecstatic to add it to their collection. Now we have what might be my top 2 favorite items in the whole auction, because I just love the looks of this piece. I like the shape of it as well. I like the dimensions of this particular sports card. 1910 Tiptop Bread, Honus Wagner, PSA 5. And I don't know how else I can say how much I love this piece, Brian, but it's a rare piece. Have you had many of these Tiptop Bread Wagners go through your auction house?
No, we really haven't. And when we do, they're in very low grade. I mean, a grade of 5, again, if you're not a pre-war collector, you might look at this and say, I'm going to hold out for a 10. Never, no chance. A 5 for this card is hugely high grade, and it presents extremely well. I mean, if you refresh it, somebody agreed with us just while we're even talking about it. It just got a bid. So it's really, it just got 2 bids actually. It's really catching people's attention. It's very reminiscent of the T206. I love this piece as well.
Up to 77,500. Gosh, I missed the boat on buying something like this, 25, 30 years ago. What an amazing card. I don't know if you could have found one that long ago anyway. I absolutely love the looks of this Wagner card. Just a stunning piece, Brian. All right, let's go to the next item. And now this one's interesting here, and I'm going to refresh it. It was a 28 before. We're still at 28. You still have your chance to get a bid in under 30,000 here, everybody. This is the 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth card number 149. It's in a PSA 7 slab. It's one of the 4 Babe Ruths from the 33 Goudey set, which is just a stunning set from top to bottom. This does have the sister card number 53 with the yellow background. Now, the reason I said this one's interesting is because last night, a PSA 8.5 copy sold on Fanatics Collect for $1.62 million, Brian. 1.62. You can get into this PSA 7, I'm guessing, for quite a bit less than that. Do you have any sort of targets? Should we check Card Ladder to see what the last 7 sold for of this card?
Yeah, I think we can do that. I mean, this is a 6-figure card, I think, but Card Ladder will tell us for sure.
I said PSA 7 already. This is card 149. Let's see what comes up. $210,000 on February 24th of this year. We had one sell for 168, 255. That had a signature, so that one doesn't count. 240, 168, 210. We've seen the cards kind of go in what looks to be about a $70,000 range, 155, 218. But really, the ones I think the most relevant one is going to be the one here in February at $210,000. So this one here has a ways to go, Brian. But what is really interesting is that, when I see a card I own sell in higher grade for, and I don't have this card, but if I did sell for 1.6 million, that really makes me feel good about the card I have. And then I feel like that might have an impact on some of the lower graded cards. Do you think we're going to see this one sell for more than those comps we just looked at because of what happened last night?
I mean, last night's sale certainly won't hurt this card. I think anytime you can draw attention to, these Ruths are very tough in high grade. If you look at the pops, they do not show up all that frequently. So I think that's what collectors are going to key in on. And again, if you're looking at last night's sale, it's nice to know that this is still considered one of the hobby's biggest and best cards.
Does last night's sale, considering that you have this copy up on REA now, do you like to see that? Do you like to see a big sale like that?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of anything that's good for the hobby, anything that brings attention to the hobby, anything that brings in new collectors. So big numbers always do that.
Nice. Yeah. I get that. Makes good sense to me. All right, let's look at the next one. Then we'll go to some comments and I'll check in on the latest bid activity with you. 1952 Tops. We talked about it a few minutes ago. 52 Tops, Mickey Mantle, card number 311. It's a high number card. It's a PSA 5.5. And at first glimpse, it looks absolutely beautiful to me. Obviously, it's off center, but many of them are. And this one, I mean, look at the focus. Look at the color, the edges, the corners. I mean, it's not a perfect card. It is a 5.5, Brian, but it's a great copy in my opinion. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, color, registration, fish eyes, centering, par for the course with this card. But you'll see them even way more off center. This to me does not bother me. It still has plenty of border there on the right, but the blue, the face, the bat, I mean, the registration's all there. So I like this card a lot.
Even the edges and corners are quite spectacular. The weakest corners are the bottom ones, but that's not even that bad.
Not
it's
for the grade,
bottom right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the top corners looked, I mean, I'm seeing what you guys can see. They appear to be very, very strong, those top corners.
Yeah.
That's a great copy right there. Are we still at 62.5? We are still at 62.5. I want to go back to your ticker, Brian. What's the latest item to receive a bid?
84 Star Basketball Chicago Bulls team set factory sealed bag with number 101 Jordan on top. $7,000.
Wow, that's going to go a ways up from there, I have to think. Let's say hello to Jeff McMahon. Good to see you. He says that Ruth Gehrig ball is really nice. Yeah, that was a cool piece. David G says, my favorite auction company, Top Reputation. Robert Scott, good evening to you. Love doing this. Our pleasure. And Abdul and or Julian from the Currency Project, guys, glad to have you here on the stream. Okay, Brian, next item up. Now we're going modern here. We've got a 2018 Topps Transcendent Shohei Ohtani 1/1 with an on-card autograph, the 1/1 stamp. Last we saw, no bid yet. Let's do a refresh. Still no bid on this one, Brian. What do you think of? What do you make of that? And what do you think of this card?
Well, I mean, who's hotter than Ohtani right now? I mean, I don't read too much into it not having a bid yet. There's still 16 days left to qualify. So I suspect that we'll look back and see a big number associated with this card. I mean, Topps Transcendent, huge product in his rookie year. Red parallel here, 101. Just a great card, great story behind it. Our consignor got it in a box break back in 2018 and held on to it until just recently. So really cool card. And again, who's hotter than Ohtani? 3-time MVP, unanimous. I mean, he's insane.
Yeah, and it's a really nice card as well. I like the way Topps left a nice amount of room for his autograph, and he kept it all in the boundaries, which is great. Love the 1/1 feature, of course. And I like in Transcendent, this has one of those metal frames around it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, really. So it makes it heavier. It's a substantial piece. Really cool card. And it's a PSA 10 to top it off. So Gem Mint, excited to see what this one ends up doing at the end of the auction, and I'm sure it will get its opening bid and many, many more. Jonathan Clark says, like the horizontal 1914 Cracker Jack Christy Mathewson, there are some great Cracker Jacks in the auction. And Jacob Dahl just logged in and browsing the auction. Welcome to the stream, Jacob. All right, let's go to the next item. A card I own a copy of. Very proud to have one. 57 Topps. Bill Russell. This is a PSA 8. Let's see if we're still at 55. We are. Brian, the biggest issue I find, well, there's two issues with 57 Topps Bill Russells. Number one is centering. This one does have a bit of a centering issue, and fish eyes, which and sometimes they are scattered throughout the card. I'm not seeing many here. I see a couple, but light overall. What are your thoughts on this copy of the Russell?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, my personal preference, and this is a beautiful thing about collecting, is that everybody's different. I'd rather have this very clean surface. Fish eyes just drive me nuts. And the 57 set's plagued by them. This is a pretty clean copy. The centering, it is what it is. You can see it there. But this is a tough card in high grade. I mean, 7 is about as high as most people will ever see on a Russell. This 8 does not come around all that frequently. Just a very important basketball card, obviously. So happy to have it.
Yeah, great looking copy right there for sure. And I'm with you. I was having this discussion the other day. I would prefer a nice, clean, registered, scuffless surface with off-centering, if I have to choose between the two, to a centered card with, poor focus, poor registration, and other surface issues like fading or snow and that. So this is a really strong copy. That black background is so dark, and that's one thing that I look for in a 57 Topps Bill Russell rookie card. What's the latest card to receive a bid at this point?
It's actually a ticket. It's tickets to the 82 NCAA basketball semifinals where Michael Jordan made a winning shot.
Very interesting. Very
$600.
interesting. Terp Enforcer lets us know that Transcendent, being what this Ohtani came out of, was $30,000 above release day. And Preston Carter, welcome to the stream, says, just received my catalog in the mail. It is a thing of beauty, nicer than many coffee table books. And I know that's something you take pride in, isn't it? The catalog.
Absolutely. Yeah. The catalog's been one of our hallmarks for many years. We're very proud of it. We put a tremendous amount of effort into it. We do consider it an educational resource. I mean, a lot of people do keep them, put them on their tables, put them on their bookshelves. So if you want one, go to our website. You can request one. We send them out for free. Happy to share because we do put a lot of work into it.
Yeah. Take advantage of that, guys. Take him up on that offer. I am on the mailing list and I love those mail days. All right. Next up, another modern card, 1996 Topps Chrome Refractor, Kobe Bryant in a PSA 10 holder. We are sitting at a bid of $30,000 at the moment. And this card went on a crazy ride during the pandemic to what I think is a nice place for it right now. Brian, how do you feel about Kobe Bryant's Topps Chrome Refractor rookie?
I think it's one of the most important modern cards. I mean, he's a huge player, obviously. Often greens, which I think the refractors, Chrome refractors are known for. This copy is pretty clean. So I like it. I like it for a 10, and I think it's a very important modern basketball card.
Yeah, and you're right. These Topps Chrome refractors do often have greening happening. It's referred to as hulking in our hobby. And this one just has a little bit. Usually you see it throughout his arms, his forearms, his legs, it on the defender's calf right there. You often see it in this area right here, his teammates' calf, the arms over there. You see it a little bit on the biceps, but usually it's often, I won't say usually, I'll say oftentimes it is much more pronounced. But I've recently seen some copies of this card with a ton of greening sell for huge money. So it's still an important card with or without greening. And this one luckily doesn't have as much as it could. So a great card right there, already with 4 bids. All right. Now this is a special card, Brian. You know the specialness of these 1997 Metal Universe Championship PMGs, do you not?
Oh yeah. We had a Beckett 8.5 last year that went for almost $250,000, I think. Super rare card, super desirable card. Just got a bid there. So yeah, great modern card.
$21,000 on this. It's a PSA 4 copy, which you might think is low grade, and it is low for a card from the 90s, but there's only 50 of these that were produced. This is a card where if it's a card you need, you have to grab one when you have the opportunity. And the fact that it's a 4, you're going to be able to afford this more so than the copy that you just mentioned that sold for $250,000. And I mean, as I look at it, why is it a 4, Brian? Do you know? Have you looked at? Did you inspect it? I mean, you can see some corner. Yeah, go ahead.
So go to the back image, and this card unfortunately stuck to a screw down. So, or a holder, I don't know that it was a screw down per se, but back on the bottom left, you see a little bit of paper loss.
Right there.
So it's otherwise beautiful. I mean, you'd see this from the front and think it's a 7, maybe an 8. but just stuck to whatever holder it was in for a long time before it became super valuable. And here we are. But like you said, if you need it, doesn't matter the grade. You've only got one of 50 opportunities.
And I do talk to a lot of collectors who play in this super ultra high end area. And these guys, I respect a lot of these collectors when I hear them say to me, I just have to have the card. I don't care the condition. I want to have the card. And this one here plays into that. Turpin Forster says, I wonder how many 97 Jordan PMGs are still in packs, right? There's 50 of these that were produced. How many of them haven't been released into the wild yet? I don't know. Is it 1? Is it 15? Is it 20? Who knows? But it's probably more than 0. And that limits your ability to find one for yourself. So a great card right there. Let's go to the next item. Oh, this is interesting. 1963 Pete Rose National League Rookie of the Year Award, direct family provenance. So Brian, does that mean that this is his Rookie of the Year award that was handed to him like in some sort of ceremony type of thing?
Yeah. This originates from his wife, actually. It's been in the hobby for a number of years, sold at auction several times before. But yeah, comes with a letter from his wife, Carolyn. And we actually have a picture. It's a reproduction picture, but the fourth picture there in the slide actually shows him holding his award. So very, very cool piece and timely, given that he's just passed away.
So this image right here, 2 questions. First, do you get this picture with the trophy?
You do.
And is that one? That's the one. Like that's the exact item that you're offering at auction. The one that's in the picture.
To the best of our knowledge, that's how it's always been presented in the hobby. That's how the letter's written. So, yeah.
Very cool piece right there. It's always fun. I'm a card guy first and foremost, Brian, but it's always fun to learn a little bit about some of these other types of items for sure. Turpin Forster, I think you should certainly question that comment. I'm not even going to put that on the screen because I just can't do it due to some very sensitive issues. But I think you should question your position on that. Okay, next up, 1895 N300 Mayo's cut plug Buck Ewing, Cincinnati SGC 5. Brian, this is a card I'm not familiar with. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Mayo cut plug, great set from the late 19th century. We're breaking up a set over this auction and our upcoming spring auction. So there's about 24 different examples in this auction, loaded with Hall of Famers, black bordered, very condition sensitive. Buck Ewing, one of the keys to the set. Cap Anson's in the set as well. So just a great 19th century card of one of the most important 19th century players in, again, what for this card is a very, very high grade.
Yeah, certainly an SGC 5 looks good to me. I did hit refresh. I think we had a couple of bids roll in on it in the last half hour or so, up to $2,500 right now. And let's just take a quick look at the back. Oh, a blank, completely black. Is that black ink on the back of this?
I don't know exactly the production method by which this was made, but yeah, it's
it looks like
it's like a layer of ink or paper or something. I don't know.
Something like that. That's really interesting. I've never seen one of these. Maybe I've seen one at a card show and just kind of walked by, but I haven't held one in hand and inspected it. I'll have to next time I see one. What's the latest item to get a bid on the auction?
57 Clemente PSA 7, $225.
All right, I like this new thing we're adding in. I'm at because you just never know, and you're just giving us the most recent one. You're not changing. Awesome.
Most
Love
recent.
it.
I mean, Jack Mathewson just got a bid $28,000. Timely.
Very nice. All right, and speaking of Cracker Jack, a 1915 Joe Jackson, and I have to tell you, this is a card that is super high on the list of cards that I'm currently. Well, I'll say targeting. I'm a long way from, I think, being able to buy one of these, but I love this card, Brian. This is a top 3 vintage baseball want for me, and it's an SGC 3. And from here, it looks a lot nicer than a 3 to me. I mean, those bottom corners have some rounding, but what a great copy right here. Tell us a little bit about it, and oh my gosh, what a great looking copy. Like, look at the centering and the color.
It's beautiful. Centering, coloring, again, a little bit of caramel staining on his arm there gives it character. love this set, love this card. Think it's an iconic vintage baseball card. We're actually breaking up near complete sets of the 14 and 15 Cracker Jacks in this auction. Had a great, exciting find of cards come in for the auction. And there's Mathewson, there's Jackson, Cobb, Wagner, you name it. So this one's beautiful. Grades a 3, but presents a lot nicer. And I think will surprise people. We just got a bid while we're talking. I think we'll surprise people with what it sells for.
Yeah. Oh, which is great for you, bad for me, because I want to get one as economically as I can. And I think I'm going to be priced out for a while, but keep your eyes open for a really nice one for me, Brian, please.
We have a beautiful authentic coming up in January.
Okay, I'll have to take a look. And I'm okay with an authentic when it comes to these cards that are really, just that desirable and therefore expensive. Great card right here, Brian, for sure. James Wynn says, very nice cards tonight. Thanks, James, for jumping on to the stream tonight. All right, love that card. Okay, now here's I mentioned earlier that the Tiptop Red Honus Wagner was my this is my other favorite in the auction, Brian. 1941 play ball, Joe DiMaggio. It's up there with the Joe Jackson that we just there with this one right here as a card that's atop my desired vintage baseball. SGC 8.5. I just love everything about this card. I'm so glad they made that background purple. It's so unique, Brian. What a great copy. How do you feel about this piece?
Yeah, I've always thought, unique is a great word. I don't know that I would have come up with it, but I've always loved the color combination on this DiMaggio card. And an 8.5, very tough. I don't know that there are many 9s floating around of this card. Nice centering, nice corners, great registration. Again, really just hits all the marks for this very important card.
It's just spectacular. And I got to talk about the color a bit more. The reason why I love it is because if you put this with all your other important vintage baseball cards, no other card looks like this. And you've got the full body shot, the follow through on the swing. It looks so good with one of the Babe Ruth batting post 33 Goudey. It looks so good with the 1950 Bowman, Jackie Robinson. If you have those in your collection, you put them together. I love putting cards together, Brian, and this one goes with so many other great cards. Currently at 0, no opening bid yet, but that's going to happen for sure. An amazing, amazing card. All right, we're going to go back to modern here with the 2000 playoff contenders Tom Brady autograph ticket. It's a PSA 8. The autograph, let's look at the autograph itself. Looks really strong to me. No pressure issues. He was pushing down firmly. You've even got that embossed stamp right there, which is really hard to see, but it is there on the card. Brian, you guys at REA, in my perception, is REA is mostly vintage, but you're not. Tell us a little bit about how you balance vintage and modern in your auctions.
I think our history is vintage. And then when you think about it, there's just 100+ years of vintage cards to choose from, whereas moderns is a smaller supply. But we've always tried to cater to as many different collecting profiles, personalities, types as we can. So we love when we get modern. We love when we get non-baseball. We love when we get memorabilia. We can't go and buy any of this stuff at a Walmart. We're at the mercy of our consigners, and we're fortunate when we get some variety. So I love this card. I think, again, it's one of the most important modern cards out there. Not a card that I've ever owned, but a card that I've looked at for a long time. And this one's a pretty nice example. That signature, you see sometimes streak, you see sometimes fade, you see sometimes skip. This one's pretty nice.
It really is a very nice copy of the card. And considering it's a PSA 8, it's going to be more affordable to a wider group of potential buyers than if it was a 9 or a 10. And I think it's nice to see that not everything on REA is a PSA 10. You know what I mean? When it comes to modern Turp Enforcer, send me a DM on Instagram. All right, next up, 2017 Panini National Treasures, Patrick Mahomes, RPA out of 99. It's a BGS 8.5. Let's have a look at the autograph. Great auto right there. It's a one-color patch, but overall subgrades, we've got it grades out a final 8.5. You do have 9 on corners, 8.5 centering edges, 8 on surface. Brian, I just asked you about modern cards, but here's taking modern to the next level with the RPA, the rookie patch auto, Patrick Mahomes. We're sitting at $11,000. Let's see if we had any bids coming in the last few minutes. Still at $11,000. What about this? Is this a card you've ever owned or would like to own yourself?
I've never owned it. I mean, I love Mahomes. I love what he's doing. He's obviously dominating the league. So I do think it's very important in the ultra modern community. And we've had a number of them over the years. They've always done well. They're always hotly contested. And this one, again, not a 9, not a 9.5, not a 10, might be a little bit more affordable for somebody to get into what may long-term be a very, very significant modern card.
Yeah, I agree. I like that comment about the grade. You don't like, I don't need everything to be a 9, a 9.5, or a 10. I don't mind some, mid to lower grade cards in my collection, especially if they present well. And with these modern cards, especially if it comes down to centering, you don't even notice the centering because they don't have uniform borders. So a really cool card right there. Good evening to Jeff Hart. Loves his vintage for sure. Good to see you, Jeff Hart. Turpin Forcer says, you love the Patrick Mahomes rookie signature. Sure do. And James Wynn. Very cool. All right, guys, let's go to the next item on the agenda. And this is a complete set of 2003 SP Authentic basketball cards autographed, including Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and the LeBron James rookie, currently at a bid of $11,000. There's the Jordan right there. Look at that auto. Just spectacular. The auto grades out a 10. The card's a 9. Kobe, the auto grades out a 10. The card is a 7. And you can look at and again, everybody, the website is on the screen in front of you. Feel free to go check it out and have a look at all close to 4,000 items listed. But this is a spectacular set. How did you acquire this one? Where did this come from?
This came to us from a collector who had just built it diligently for a while. And I was struck by it, mostly because of what we just talked about. It's a little bit outside of our regular flow of consignments. We love when we get stuff like this. We have people here that collect it and know it and understand it. And I just think it's a beautiful set. It's not something that I personally was familiar with, but we have specialists here who were, and the lineup of names, you've got Bird, you've got Irving, you've got Kobe, you've got LeBron, you've got Michael. I mean, it's a pretty awesome set, and I think it'll do very well. 59
total cards, autographed, complete set. I mean, and PSA set registry abilities here as well. I don't know if it's already on there, but if it's not, you can put it on there, and now all of a sudden you're going to be competing on there. Yeah, that is an amazing lot, Turpin Forcer. I agree with you on that. And just the fact you get a Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe auto. I mean, Larry Bird as well. Is Magic Johnson in there too?
He might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, you can go check it, everybody. I think I saw Shaq in there. Did I see Shaq? I gotta just check because I'm a Shaq guy. Oh, that's Gary Payton in the Lakers jersey that I was looking at. But have a look, guys. Patrick Ewing, Tracy McGrady, Alonzo Mourning, 59 cards all together. And we're at $11,000 only at the moment. So lots of opportunity there, guys. Okay, one of my favorites, Brian. Hockey is my number one sport to collect, but I think I like my vintage baseball a bit more. But nonetheless, this card right here, 1911 C55 Imperial Tobacco, George Vezina. This is the Grail vintage hockey card, the Grail pre-war vintage hockey card right here. And this is a beautiful copy in an SGC4, Brian. I mean, all your vintage, but where do you put this Vezina card in the scope of vintage sports cards?
I think it's right up there. I mean, in the hockey community, this is the Grail. I mean, there are certainly cards that are more rare, but this is iconic. We actually have the entire set in this auction. We've broken out this and a couple other cards, but it's a great looking example. And you and I have talked about Vezinas in the past. I mean, this is not a card that comes up in 7s and 8s, even 6s and 5s. So a 4 is very, very nice and very respectable for this card.
And this is a copy that I would put up beside any 7 or 8 and be very, very proud. Look at the color. Look at the centering. It's not perfect, but it's very, very strong. But what I just noticed was, look at the reverse. This thing is just clean.
Yeah.
Like, what a great, I think you're even underemphasizing how great of a copy this is, Brian. I don't mind emphasizing to the degree that I am, because I just feel this is a very strong copy. And I look at every copy of this card that comes to market. So really strong.
It's nice.
What's the latest item to get a bid?
We have a Cracker Jack Ty Cobb in a 1 for $13,000, and a couple ones down. We had that Ty Cobb that we talked about earlier. It's now up to 160.
Wow, $160,000. And back to this set for a second. Terp Enforcer lets us know that Patrick Ewing really doesn't sign a lot, so that's important right there. And he also says, I like seeing this kind of vintage hockey. I don't see it much. Have you ever been up to an expo in Toronto, Terp Enforcer? I'm just curious. All right, Brian, I believe the final item that we are scheduled to look at tonight is this one, which threw me for a loop when I first looked at it. So this is a 1965-66 Oshawa Generals Memorial Cup Premium Bobby Orr rookie PSA 1.5 with a program from the game and the ticket stub. I mean, that's pretty crazy right there. Sitting at a bid of $2,200 now. Just got a bid. Brian, when you can take a cool card like the one that's in the PSA slab and pair it with a program and a ticket stub from the game, how does that impact people? Like, it's a loaded question because I feel I know, but how do you feel? How do you like presenting a package like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome, right? I mean, we talked about earlier the Jackie ticket being in the building. I mean, here you have this package that is probably very likely stayed together for all these years. These premiums were issued with the program at the games. Super rare, predates his time in the NHL. I mean, how old is he there? 17, 18, 19 maybe? He's not old at all.
I think he's 16 or 17, never mind.
I think he's 17 there. So yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I was very impressed when this came in to see that, again, Bobby Orr, one of the best hockey players of all time, has this pre-rookie card that not a lot of people know exist, highest graded example, and should be very exciting for hockey fans.
Yeah, it's a unique piece. It's somewhat of an odd type of item that it's non-mainstream. It's not his 66 Topps rookie card. It's older than that, and that makes it very special. So I think you're gonna appeal to a lot of people who are looking to round out their Bobby Orr collection. Not everybody still needs that Bobby Orr rookie card. You know, I was thinking about it myself earlier. I was trying to think to myself, what kind of items will I be looking for 10 years from now? Because I'm always evolving as a collector, Brian, and finding new things that I find interesting and I desire. And I was thinking, how could I look into the future and see what I might want down the road? Well, once I acquire the pieces I want right now, where will I be after that? And I'm trying to just self-discover. And this is that kind of piece that once you have your Bobby Orr run done, maybe you're looking for this piece. And if you can acquire it ahead of time and save some money now versus buying it in 10 years, now that might be your opportunity at the moment. Turpin Force says, young Bobby Orr looks like Nikola Jokic. And Terp, you do want, come to a Toronto Expo. I'm at all of them. Would be great to see you there. Brian, anything else on this piece based on what I was just talking about with looking forward 10 years as a collector, which is hard to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that you and I are super passionate about collecting. And I think the fun thing about doing this is that there's stuff that we never even knew existed that constantly turns up and just kind of changes the way we think about collecting, changes what we're interested in, makes us learn a thing or two. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I thought that Oshawa Generals piece was awesome when it came through the door.
Yeah, really cool. Kevin Hawthorne joining us from Lakeland, Florida. Welcome to the show, Kevin. We are just about to wrap up, though. Brian, I mean, this was fun. We just looked at 22 great items. If you're just joining now, feel free to rewind or watch it a little bit later, but we just covered 22 items from the auction with some great dialogue along the way, if I might say so myself. Brian, I got to ask again, what's the latest item to get a bid?
Let's see. My computer went into sleep mode, but we have a 53 Mays PSA 6 at $1,900.
Very, very nice. Very cool. It's always nice to see what people are bidding on. This was fun, guys. Visit robertedwardauctions.com to register to bid, to view all the items, to read all the lengthy descriptions, to bid on them. REA is great at storytelling and really helping you understand the meaning behind some of these items, because these are not just pieces of cardboard or baseballs or trophies. These are historical artifacts. That's why I love collecting them, Brian. You feel the same way, don't you?
100%, all day, every day. I love it because, these guys they're important. And in a case of some of this stuff, they held it, they wore it, they played with it. It's great.
Or even the Jackie, we have the Jackie Robinson debut ticket in the auction as well. And listen, not only don't even look at these just because you have to buy them. Educate yourself, learn about the hobby. It's so interesting. Go to the website, register to receive the catalog. They'll mail it out to you. It is a beautiful coffee table type of book as well. So Brian, any final comments before we wrap up?
No, I think, what we said earlier, don't be shy. Go to the website, browse around, request a catalog. We'll get you one out for free. You got 16 days to bid, and you might learn something.
Well, thank you, Brian, for joining as always, as we continue to do these catalog auction live streams. Thank you to everybody who joined on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Great to have you. Brian, thanks again. I love doing this.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Always fun.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for joining this episode of the REA Fall Catalog Auction live stream on November the 22nd, 2024. And this auction does end on December the 8th. So you have time to bid. Is now over.